Welcome back to TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. The Jaguars are starting to stack wins. Momentum is on their side. You can feel the excitement building around this team.
I don't like to think about it as momentum. I like to think of this as another opportunity just to go out there and play our game.
The Jaguars head to Carolina, hoping to continue this sweet winning feeling. We're breaking down the Panthers playmakers with the head coach, and we're giving back with the general manager. All that and much more ahead on Jaguars Weekend.
This is TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. And Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
We're on the road, high altitude, all that we conquered, right? Okay, we did that. We're going to go on the road next week, playing another good team in Carolina. Okay? All right, so I want you guys to make sure you get your lift in, all right, before I see your sorry asses on Wednesday.
The head coach fired up after a huge comeback win in Denver. How could you not be excited after watching this team fight till the end at Mile High? Hello and welcome to TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. I'm Ashlyn Sullivan. Jacksonville is 2-2 and is one of the most intriguing teams to watch in the NFL. Last week, Leonard Fournette had his best game of his career, and Gardner Minshew proved yet again he can play quarterback in this league. This wild ride has just begun, and the Jaguars are looking for their third win in a row against the Panthers. Gardner Minshew isn't your typical quarterback. Whether it be his mustache, jorts, or pregame warm-up routine, his humble confidence has won over this locker room. It doesn't hurt. He's helped lead the Jaguars to back-to-back wins.
I think he's improving. That's kind of what you want to do as you go throughout a season, especially as a rookie. You want to learn from every game and every outing that you have, and we feel like he's doing that. You know, as long as he comes in here every day ready to learn and get better, I feel like he will.
The mania has turned into magic. The best thing Gardner can do, don't buy into the hype.
He knows it was only the first quarter of the season. We still got a long way to go. And just to really not buy into the hype or anything like that and just stay focused, that's a lot. You know, he's next to me and DJ in the locker room, so we see it every day. And just to have that approach, you know, it shows that he's not complacent. He's still working, and it just gives a good message to the whole locker room to just keep working.
The locker room has accepted who Gardner is from the beginning. But there have been doubters ever since he was drafted. The man behind the magic only cares about the opinions inside the stadium.
I just got to play, complete balls, throw it on time, do my job. Because at the end of the day, I got guys here that count on me, and it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
One thing we know for sure, the mustache population has grown in Jacksonville. Some rock it better than others.
Could not grow one like Gardner has.
I mean, everybody don't have that talent. So.
We now welcome in Brian Sexton and John Ozier, talking Gardner Minshew here, of course, making his fourth start on Sunday against the Panthers. For me, there's no reason to believe he can't keep doing what he's doing and be successful.
Well, I'm not sure if he's going to keep the numbers everybody knows. He's got passer rating off the charts, and he's been almost perfect in terms of interceptions. I don't think he's going to maintain that. The thing I keep thinking with this kid is usually a quarterback who starts struggling as a rookie struggles because he's overwhelmed or because he can't figure out what he's seeing quickly enough to combat what the defense is doing. I don't think he's going to have a problem with either of those issues, so I think his floor is going to be higher when he does struggle.
I've talked to some people who were in the room when he interviewed with the Jaguars in Indianapolis. He totally blew them away. And that was confirmed last night. I listened to a radio interview with his passing coach, the guy he worked with in the offseason, who was college teammates with Scott Milanovic. So they know this kid inside and out. My understanding is they are giving him what he can handle. They're not asking him to do anything else. The problem is he can handle almost everything. So they feel completely comfortable. And it doesn't seem like it should, because he's a rookie. He's different. He breaks the mold.
No one would have expected this, that's for sure.
You can't just say, well, he's a rookie, so here comes the 3-interception game. It could happen, but you can't say for sure with this kid.
Yeah, people nationally see the mustache and they see the shtick and all that.
Such a smart
and
kid.
It's easy to overlook the fact that the reason he's good is he is so razor sharp smart.
And prepared like no one else, according to his passing coach.
For sure. Now we go into the Jalen Ramsey update, of course. So did not practice this week, still dealing with a back injury. Unsure if he's going to play on Sunday, but you saw how much he was needed last week when they picked on Trey Herndon.
Well, I would argue that if he plays last week, he takes Cortland Sutton out of the game, or Emmanuel Sanders, and A.J. Boye then takes the other one. I don't think you're playing at the end of the game to win with a field goal. You don't need the late magic. He's that important to them, and so he's that important to the young quarterback because you don't want to have to keep relying on these things. I don't know if he's coming back this week, next week, this season. I don't know, but they need him on the field.
He'll be back this season. There's a lot of people talking they won't be. He'll be back this season. I don't know how long the back is going to linger, but they're not trading him, and he's going to play football, so it's going to be here.
And it is absolutely a legitimate injury. I hear some people questioning that, talking to people that know it is legit.
Jalen Ramsey, an ongoing story. We'll talk about that much more coming up in the next few weeks, and much more to come right here on Jaguars Weekend. More to come on Jaguars Weekend. It's a battle of backup quarterbacks in Carolina, but the focus should be on the running backs instead. We visit the film room with the head coach next.
Oh, they're a great D. Their front seven is probably the best we've seen yet. They got playmakers all across it. They got 59 leading the show, who's sideline to sideline every play. So it's gonna be a really good challenge for us.
The Jaguars will face one of the better defenses they have seen, but this team is confident they can fly home from Carolina with a win. We're back on Jaguars Weekend. This week, everyone is talking about the battle of the backup quarterbacks. No one expected Kyle Allen and Gardner Minshew to start under center in Week 5. We should be paying attention to a player who is credited for 57% of the Panthers' touchdowns this season. Christian McCaffrey makes the Panthers' offense go. He's the leading rusher in the NFL. Jeff Lageman takes us into the film room with head coach Doug Marrone to break down the Panthers' playmakers.
Boy, Doug, you guys have probably a matchup you weren't expecting when the season started, and that Cam Newton is now out, and you've got Kyle Allen, a young quarterback, in for the Carolina Panthers playing.
He is, and he's doing a great job. He really is. I think it's obviously Norv Turner is the offensive coordinator. He's done a great job. Kyle Allen's right up his alley. He's a good passer, good in the pocket. Able to move, really control the game. He's accurate. He's done a very good job.
Well, Norv Turner's no dummy. When you have a young quarterback in there and you got Christian McCaffrey, give the ball to Christian McCaffrey, and they're doing it in various ways in the passing game and in the running game.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's leading the league in rushing. He's leading the league in all-purpose yards. You saw that coming out when he was in college at Stanford. He's a guy who's very dangerous out of backfield. It's almost like you need a corner to cover him. Really can't cover him with a linebacker. And then obviously he can run inside the tackles and outside the tackles and has the speed to take it all the way to the house each time he touches the ball.
Well, I remember when he was coming out, the knock on him was, could he run between the tackles like you're saying? And he's very good at it, and right here he's a perfect example.
Yeah, he's very good at it. I guess the best word is slippery. He's not really going to run you over, but he can get to a side or a quarter and spin and get a lot of extra yards. And you need a lot of people around him. He's really good in space and putting on moves and making people miss.
Well, the Carolina Panthers defense, watching them the last 2 weeks with that young quarterback guiding their football team, they seem to have ramped up their play. They're only allowing 15 points a ball game. These two guys in the middle, and Kuechly and Shaq Thompson, about as good as any two inside linebackers in the league.
I agree. They're just so good. Instinctively, they're always in the right spot. They have unbelievable vision, great anticipation, really good at reading the scheme, and they can get downhill, and obviously they're short-handed tacklers.
Right, and hard to imagine that there's many linebackers that would be better than them two. Their third linebacker, 56, that comes in the ball game, he might be just as good. But one thing that's been impressive about the Carolina Panthers, you go back to last week's game in Houston against the Texans, game's on the line, and all of a sudden they bring a blitz and they make a play to win the ball game. That's kind of been the sign for their defense, and that they can make a play when they need to.
They can. The way they start off a lot of times is they force you to try to make plays and force you into mistakes. They're very sound, probably one of the most disciplined defenses we'll face all year. And then all of a sudden now you see when they have to make a play, now they can amp it up a little bit and come with pressure, which they're really not as big of a pressure team. But again, this will probably be one of the best defenses we face all year.
And one way to make them a little bit more normal is to have that running game like you did last week. So best of luck, Doug.
That's correct.
Thanks, Coach. Sunday will be a big game for the Jaguars linebackers as they look to stop the Panthers' explosive running game. We're continuing to count down our Jaguars All-25 team. Number 14 was the perfect example of a right tackle. No defensive lineman wanted to go against him in practice. Number 14 on the Jaguars All-25, Leon Searcy.
The Jaguars All-25, presented by Sharpie.
Number 14, Leon Searcy.
Look, there are a lot of guys you look around in the locker room and you go, yeah, fighter or not, fighter or not, fighter or not. You got the Leon Searcy, you go, that's a fighter. That's a man who will battle you now.
Leon Searcy played in Jacksonville from 1996 to 1999. The starting right tackle from Pittsburgh was one of the biggest free agent acquisitions in team history.
Back then, we had quite a rivalry with the Steelers, so to take him from the Steelers was great stuff. So I think the Jaguars added to their football team and subtracted from the Steelers.
Getting him from that kind of team to come in for a young team was big for their building.
He was the highest paid tackle and may have been the highest paid player in the NFL when he came in. 5 years, $25 million is always the number that sticks out. He was a very big deal as a free agent signing.
It was a big deal for a big man. At 6'4" and 313 pounds, Searcy's power was what set him apart from the rest of the tackles in the NFL.
His punch was so strong that the defensive guys didn't want to practice against him. The perfect right tackle because he was tough and mean and physical.
That's a big man who would play physical football with you, but also was nimble enough to pass block.
He could punch you off the line, and his power was unbelievable, and he would stun defensive ends trying to rush him.
Bad body. I tell Leon to his face he had a bad body. He looked like a squatty little guard, but he was ferocious, and he was powerful. The stories of him in the weight room are legendary, and he wasn't a lifter. He was naturally strong, and that's how he got by. He got by with his power and his strength.
On 3rd and 2, Brunell's in the shotgun with Taylor. Here's a draw play. Taylor running it to the left will have the first. He's across the 10, outside to the 5, down the sideline, touchdown!
Searcy was named All-Pro and played in the Pro Bowl in 1999. He played opposite Tony Boselli during his entire career in Jacksonville. He was often overlooked because of Boselli's ability, but Searcy was never in his shadow.
And remember, Mark Brunell's a left-handed quarterback. So you're a right tackle, but you've got to do right tackle things, which is run block and be physical. But you also have the quarterback's backside.
You had Boselli and Searcy bookend tackles. Those are the two best tackles in the NFL together, in my mind, from in the late 90s for sure.
Tony being on the other side kind of overshadowed Leon, but Leon was also, for that span, a very, very, very talented player.
We just got to go out there and we got to play physical, baby. That's all we got to do. Ready to play ball, baby.
Searcy will not be overshadowed on this list. Leon Searcy is the 14th best Jaguar of all time.
Still to come on Jaguars Weekend, an event to benefit the animals of Jacksonville. And we show you the team behind the team to keep the Jags slim and trim.
Hello?
Is Gardner there?
Yes, it is.
Gardner, Dave Caldwell with the Jacksonville Jaguars. How you doing?
Dave, I'm great. How you doing?
You ready to move back east?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Throwing it back to the 6th round of last year's draft. Gardner Minshew has exceeded expectations, and so far, it seems like a good pick by Dave Caldwell and the Jaguars. Welcome back to Jaguars Weekend. Everyone in the Jaguars organization is busy during football season, but for General Manager Dave Caldwell, the grind never stops. From the draft to the combine, the scouting team is always working to make the Jaguars better. What's impressive is Caldwell still has time to help animals in the Jacksonville community. This Baptist Health feature brings us to the 21st annual Toast to the Animals. Jaguars general manager Dave Caldwell is not at the office. He's at home with his family and 2 dogs, Coco and Monkey. He adopted both from the Jacksonville Humane Society. Caldwell and his wife Joelle have been heavily involved with the Humane Society ever since they moved to Jacksonville and welcome guests to the stadium for the 21st annual Toast to the Animals. The Caldwells always look forward to the event.
Jacksonville Humane Society has brought so much joy to our family because we've adopted 2 dogs from the Jacksonville Humane Society. So anything we can do to give back and help animals that can't help themselves, we're happy to do that.
The night was filled with vendors all across Jacksonville handing out food and drinks. All proceeds went directly to the Humane Society. Since moving the event to the stadium a couple years ago, proceeds have doubled and more money is being raised every year. The Humane Society wouldn't be able to make a difference without the Jaguars.
The support of the Jaguars means the world to us because we're a very community-rooted organization, and the Jaguars are our community.
Despite all of the success with Toast to the Animals, the work is far from over for the Humane Society.
Well, I like every animal to be adopted. Can we get that done where zero vacancy would be great.
The 2019 Toast to the Animals raised over $240,000, all to benefiting the lives of the animals at the Jacksonville Humane Society. Toast to the Animals is growing every year thanks to the Caldwells and the Jaguars' efforts. While it may not be fun for the players to eat healthy, nutrition is a vital part to success during football season. We take you to the team behind the team to show you just how connected nutrition is to win on Sundays.
So my job here is to work with the players and make sure that we are incorporating nutrition in order to help improve their performance, decrease their injury risk, and improve their recovery day to day. You know, if there's any injured guys, we'll talk about what they're doing in the weight room and how we can adjust their nutrition needs. Or if there's someone that has been having a lot higher reps because someone else is injured, we make sure we have to adjust that way. So I work with Milo day to day to make sure that we're on top of all the guys that are changing their needs.
Nutrition is a vital, important aspect in the world of strength and conditioning. I call it's part of the low-hanging fruit. It's something that all of our athletes can control. You know, vitally important is when our athletes just get done exercising on the field and, you know, and depleting their energy resources, the first thing they do when they come in is they get a post-workout recovery shake.
Everything here is on a timeline, so we need to make sure that the recovery shakes are getting at a certain point. We need to make sure we're ready if there is a lightning storm and they're coming in, that we can be ready on the fly. Same thing with lunches. If practice gets cut short, we need to make sure that the lunches are ready. So everything's on a timeline, and it's very streamlined, and we know every day what it's going to look like before it starts.
Find out more information about natural gas and available energy conservation rebates at peoplesgas.com/cooking. Up next on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend, the keys to stacking wins are next.
Jaguars Weekend is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. And Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
What's the most controversial thing that you can say to me right now in the confidence of just us having a conversation of just us and no one listening? Mike up.
Chris Conley mic'd up after a big win against the Denver Broncos last week. We talk about Chris Conley. We're back with Brian and John, by the way. Those wide receivers, that offense, improving week to week.
Well, I think the intriguing thing is they are improving week to week, and you think about the circumstances in which they're doing it. New quarterback, an offensive line that didn't play together at all during the preseason, maybe 6 plays. It's intriguing to see where these guys can go. Conley hasn't played with Minshew. Minshew hasn't played with the offensive line. The running back is just now getting going. Major strides from last year already, and I'm not even sure they scratched the surface.
Well, so you see Chark lay out and catch the ball down the sideline, and then you see Westbrook and Conley in back-to-back on that final game-winning drive. They're making plays for their quarterback. They're helping him out. What will help them out is if Leonard Fournette comes out and runs like that. And I'm not saying 225, although we'll take it. I'm talking about him digging and fighting for 3 extra yards and then finding a seam the next run for 11 and running over people. If he keeps running over people like that, this offense will really take a big leap forward because play action appears to be something this kid can do.
And that's the only way that he's going to reach his potential, is to run that way. When he has run that way in the past, he's been very effective. It looks like he gets that in his doing.
So you have a chance this weekend to come home from Charlotte 3-2, going into a huge game at home against the Saints. When Foles went down week 1, none of us would have imagined that would be this case.
Yeah, and I don't love their chances this weekend, to be honest with you. I think Carolina is the best opponent since Kansas City that they've played. But with Minshew, with the way the offense is going, for the first time, I feel like if the defense gives up some key plays, I feel like the offense can make up for it. It's a team that can win on the road against good teams. I'm not sure it has been like that since 17.
I don't love it or not love it. I am just excited to watch it, and that's what Minshew has brought to the table.
The Jaguars looking for win number 3 of the season in Charlotte this week, and we'll be back next week on the next Jaguars Weekend.